Okay, the workbench today, we're just all about embroidery today because today we had a little bit of an issue in one of the pattern layouts. One was putting something down and she's like, why doesn't this fit? It says it's 11.8 or 11.76 and it's supposed to be a 8 by 12 hoop. And I knew something then, but I wanted to double check my math before I committed to explaining this. And so I'm going to explain it to you all today. We live in America, so we use freedom units. All the hoops are designed
inches, people, inches.
Inches. You know, the system of the free world. But anyway, the machines are made in Japan, and like the rest of the world, except for us, the redheaded stepchild of the world, they're in millimeters. And so what you've got a lot of times is when you're looking at a hoop, for example, an 8 by 12 hoop is not really 8 by 12. It's actually 200 millimeters by 300 millimeters. And for all of you that are on your Googles right now and you're like millimeter inches, which I do that a lot because, you know, some of my dumb projects I need to know the conversions. 200 millimeters by 300 millimeters is not 8 by 12, as you would assume because you're calling it an 8 by 12 hoop. It's actually 7.9 inches by 11.8 inches. A hair smaller. But that hair is significant if you have a pattern that is 11 3/4 inches tall. Because you think, well, I got a 1/4 inch, so I got a little bit of wiggle room in the hoop, right?
No, but you said it was a 6 by 10 hoop?
No, an 8 by 12 hoop.
Oh, an 8 by 12 hoop.
Yeah, an 8 by 12 hoop.
I lost you.
Okay. Yeah. No, so you've got an 8 by 12 hoop and you have a pattern.
It's math. I hate math.
Yeah, but if you have an 8 by 12 hoop and you have, in the case when I was working with Wilma, the design itself was 11 and just a little over 11 and a half. So we assumed you had a 1/4 inch top and bottom to work with.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
You don't, because 300 millimeters is really 11.8 inches. That's a full quarter, almost a full 1/4 inch smaller than 12. Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm just saying this is something to consider. This is something to consider when you're looking at designs and you have your machine turned on inches, because an 8 by 12 hoop is not 8 by 12. Conversely, 6 by 10 hoop is 160 millimeters by 260 millimeters.
Yeah. I would write on my hoops.
Yeah. Which is not 6 by 10. Do you know what
No.
that comes out to? 6 1/4 by 10 1/4.
Right, but
so you actually have a full 1/4 inch bigger than 6 by 10.
Right, but so you always go 6 by 10.
Yeah, 6 by 10. But this isn't universal. Some, like an 8 by 12 is not over 8 by 12, is actually a little less,
Yeah.
whereas a 6 by 10 is a little over.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to point this out in the workbench kind of tech tip of the week type thing.
Well,
is keep that in mind, is that what your
funny you should mention
what your hoop actually says for a size may not act. Now, most of these sizes are pretty universal. So if you have a designer that designs something for an 8 by 12, they really designed it for a 300 or a 200 by 300 millimeter hoop. So you shouldn't have to worry about those designs.
Right here, Henry. Funny you should mention that.
Oh, really?
Yes, because Kimberbell, in their blue tiles, this is the user manual that comes with the package, one of the first things they want you to do is actually get your hoops out and identify really what size fits in each of your hoops. And fill in this little chart, because not all hoops are created equal. A Bernina 6 by 10 hoop can be different than a Brother 6 by 10 hoop.
Yeah.
All for the same reasoning, that the embroidery field is not necessarily it isn't the
Yeah.
size of the hoop. So they have you go through an exercise where you actually map your hoops
Yeah.
to what size design you can use in it.
And a lot of this you can actually find that if you're good with your Google Foo, you can find this online.
Well, all I do is write it right on my hoop.
Yeah.
Go to shop.
But it's something to keep in mind that a 6 by 10 hoop is not a 6 by 10, a 5 by 7 is not a 5 by 7.
Nope.
Because
Nope.
most of them were also originally done in millimeters, so the conversion doesn't come
That's
straight across.
exactly what they said to do. Look up your hoop on like the Brother website, if it's
Yeah.
a Brother machine, and write down the maximum field size of your embroidery,
Yeah.
and fill that in this little chart, so that you don't have a Wilma.
Yes. No, we got it to work, but it was just I would have
just shrunk it down a tad.
Yeah, it was a very tight
Good to
fit, and it didn't seem like it should have been that tight because, like I said, the pattern was 7 1/2. Was
Interesting.
11 1/2, and
That's
he's like,
one
well, I
of
got a
the-
12-inch hoop, so
That's
why?
one of the things that is happening with blue tiles.
So that's
Yeah.
the mighty workbench.